Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I am so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 141st episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. And if you tuned in last week to Charleston with Kids, you already know what I'm going to talk about, and that is chasing 70-degree locations. Here's what I mean. You know how everyone has that perfect temp, your ideal temp, and for most people, it's in that 70 to 85 degree range. That's their favorite. Now, some prefer a little cooler, some prefer a little warmer, but for me, I love between 70 and 82, right? That's the dream for me. So I thought about when we were in Charleston and the weather was incredible. It was in the mid-70s the whole week. I thought about that also coming home. We've had some beautiful weeks here in Mississippi, and we know we don't get the 70 degrees very often. Sometimes it's 2 weeks in the spring, 2 weeks in the fall, maybe a random day in January. We're not promised 70 degrees very often or for very long in Mississippi. But I started thinking about if you wanted to chase 70 degrees, and there are people that's what they want to do. They want to go different locations every month that would be 70 degrees. I wanted to give you a list of going January to December where you could go each month. Now, that does not mean this is the only option, but just to give you some ideas. Maybe some you haven't thought about, maybe some you've already experienced. And if you have some more ideas for 70-degree locations, I would love for you to post these in our group, Heather and Logan Tate, Whimsical Destinations. I'll make a post about it today when I share this. And I'd love for you to say, where's your favorite place to go for 70 degrees and which month? Because that makes a big difference. All right, let's kick this off with January. You probably already know what I'm going to say for January. January is for Jamaica. For me, the past 5 years, I believe we have gone to Jamaica in January. It is my favorite month to go to the Caribbean. It's absolutely beautiful there. I love going when it's really warm here. Really warm there and really cold here. That's why the Caribbean is going to be peak January through April. So it's going to be the biggest crowds, the highest prices, the most amazing weather. So the humidity is down. You're not in hurricane season. Everybody wants to go because it's warm there. So again, other locations in January also have the 70 degrees, but Jamaica is one I wanted to feature for then. February, let's go domestic. How about Arizona? Now, Arizona gets really hot in the summer, but a lot of people don't think of it as a winter destination. From here, of course, there they know how amazing it is in the winter, and it also makes a great spring break destination. We went to Arizona for spring break a few years ago. Fantastic. Would definitely go again. But in February as well, the average temps, not throughout all of Arizona. You want to look in the specific place you're going, but we're talking around Phoenix, Sedona, Peoria. That's where we were. You're going to get the average in the 70s during the day. So a fantastic time to go to Arizona if you want to be outside, go to the trails, go see the Grand Canyon. Again, those higher locations could be a little bit cooler then, but your southern locations, mid-Arizona, are going to be in the 70s. For March, you know what I'm going to say. is the inspiration for this podcast episode, and that is Charleston, South Carolina. Now, does that mean that it is going to be 70 degrees every day in March? No, but the average temps are showing in the 70s for Charleston. The week we were there for spring break, it was in the 70s. So definitely a consideration for you. In April, great time to go to the mountains. Gatlinburg, Tennessee area, so the Smokies, and Branson. So the town part, that's a great time to go if you're wanting wonderful spring temps in the 70s. Now, if you're going higher elevations, remember, in the same day, you can drop 10 degrees, 15 degrees. So in the summer, if you're going and you want to find the 70s, then you're going up to the mountains. But if you're looking for the 70s and you're in the valley, you're at Cades Cove, you're in downtown walking in Gatlinburg, you can find that in April. For May, now this is cheating a little bit because the place that I'm about to tell you is really in the 70s, low 80s year-round, and that is San Diego, California. San Diego is known for being one of those destinations that has some of the best weather year-round. We know a lot of these places, it's going to be hit or miss, whether you're looking in the winter or the summer, there's going to be big differences. But for San Diego, Santa Barbara, California, another one of those that's known for amazing weather year-round. But San Diego is fantastic in May. And we have gone before multiple times. I have family that live in San Diego, and it's just incredible when we've gone to visit them, and I can't wait to go back. In June, I'm going to share with you a place I haven't been yet, and that's the Pacific Northwest, specifically the Oregon coast. I have not made it to Oregon or Washington or Montana, but the Oregon coast is known for being wonderful in June. So great temps. Water's going to be a little cool. I don't know if I'm getting in the water when it's 70 degrees out, but if you're wanting to have your Goonies moment and you haven't been to Oregon, then I think June's a great time to go there. For July, I'm going to share with you two places that I have been that will be in the 70s then. And if you're wanting across the pond, that's in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Wonderful weather in July and August. If you are wanting to be a little closer to home, but you're still thinking, I want to be somewhere like, different, somewhere I'm not necessarily going to be able to drive to, Prince Edward Island, which is a province in Canada, is where I would choose for July. We spent July and part of early August there. Phenomenal weather. Absolutely loved it. So also in the summer where you're thinking like, okay, I'm trying to find 70-degree weather. Where can I go? You've got a lot of places in New England or you could go where we went last August, and that is going to England. We went to London, England last August and had incredible weather. It rains a day. And that was it. The rest of the time we had in the 70s. In September, let's go domestic again. Virginia. Wonderful time to go. I love going to Virginia in the fall. We've been in October before for fall break, but you could also go in September. Williamsburg area. You could Charlottesville, Virginia. Great time to go to experience that crisp fall temps when it's still really hot here in September. But you could easily go there and enjoy wonderful weather. All right, here's one we have not spoken about yet, and this is for October. Hawaii. Hawaii is known for having really good temps most of the year, but the fall is a fantastic time to go to Hawaii. It's their shoulder season. So that's going to be a time when prices can be better. It's on average between 70 and 85 degrees then. So the water is also going to be warm enough to swim in Hawaii in October. So I have yet to go to Hawaii. I get asked a lot about Hawaii from my clients, and it's a place I have not been yet. So it's on my list. I spend a lot of my time in the Caribbean, but I know that when I go, I like to go shoulder season because then you can sometimes get the best bang for your buck. So Hawaii for October. If you're wanting to go somewhere closer, consider the Outer Banks. So in North Carolina, they said that is a fantastic time to go to the Outer Banks. Yes, it is possible to be affected by a hurricane, so you want to watch the weather, but that's when the crowds are gone. The prices are cut in half almost. So if you're watching and the weather looks good, that's a great time to get to the Outer Banks when it's still warm enough to enjoy the beaches. For November, I completely recommend the Bahamas. Technically, hurricane season is not over until November 30th, but in November, it is much less active than your August, September, and October. In the summer, the Bahamas feels very humid. I know I have been multiple times. I have been summer, I have been fall, I've been winter, and November, I think think it's a fantastic time to go. Water is still very warm, so it's going to be comfortable, not like in January and February where the water gets a little cool to be in, but it's end of hurricane season. The outside temps are very comfortable, not as humid then, so it's a great time to go. And I'm going to finish with December, and I'm going to tell you where my family's favorite place to go in December, and that is Florida. Specifically, I'll mention a few places. Well, that's when we love to go to Orlando. We have found the temps to be wonderful, especially beginning of December. St. Augustine, Florida. So if you want somewhere Christmassy that has beautiful Christmas lights but still comfortable enough to be able to walk outside, St. Augustine. Also Key West. Fantastic time to go to the Florida Keys would be in December. That is all the time we have for this week's episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. I hope you enjoyed following along to be able to chase those 70-degree locations, and I can't wait to hear your recommendations. Have a wonderful week. Remember, life is short. Take the trip, make those memories. You won't regret it.
Thanks for tuning in to our daily programming. All of our programs are released as podcasts on the major podcast platforms where the information can be downloaded and shared for months. If your business or organization would like to take this unique opportunity to sponsor a show that not only is broadcast as a radio program, but also a podcast, give the Shark 1023 headquarters a call at 662-837-1023. Imagine your commercial in this space every week. Give us a call.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcast, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.